Stalker 2 is one of the biggest and most ambitious upcoming games, and today we finally have some more details that I want to go over. For those who may not know, Stalker is an incredibly punishing survival shooter set in the irradiated zone of Chernobyl. You play as a stalker, someone who has ventured out into the zone in search of untold treasures. The zone itself is a pretty dangerous place filled with bandits, freak weather anomalies, and some of the weirdest creatures you've ever seen in a video game. And Stalker 2 was announced back in 2019, and since then, details have been pretty scarce, kind of like most games announced either in or around the pandemic era. Imagine that. But among the scarcity, we do have some pretty exciting details about the game, some old, some new, and today I want to go over everything that we know about the highly anticipated Stalker 2. One of the coolest details we know about the game so far is that the developers have said they're aiming to create one of the biggest seamless open worlds to date. The map is going to contain all the old locations from the previous games along with a lot of new spots built specifically for the sequel. Being that the previous games were only semi-open world, just allowing you to explore large sub-areas rather than the entire map, this is pretty exciting. And thinking back on recent open world games as kind of a reference like The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Breath of the Wild, you can kind of assume that this world is going to be unfathomably massive, especially when you put it in the context that it's kind of a slower survival shooter. And the world of the Stalker games are quite literally alive. AI move around the map freely, they have shootouts and encounters with mutants even if you're not around to see or hear it. And as you're walking around, you're going to stumble upon the aftermath of these kind of conflicts quite a bit. It really helps build this kind of lonely and horrific atmosphere because the player isn't the single catalyst for every event in the game. Stuff kind of happens around you rather than just to you. You're just kind of another nameless dude that's trying not to get killed as he moves through the world. And as you explore, you're also going to come across these dangerous weather anomalies like acid rain, radioactive storms, electric clusters, and whatever this strange gravity vortex is, and a whole lot more. The zone is essentially a character itself. The tone and the atmosphere of this game is so well done and so unique that the Stalker games are actually known as being some of the most immersive video games ever. And that's just from the era of 2007 to 2010, before the games looked like this. Which leads me into my next talking point, the graphics. And wow, there's something. My video won't do them as much justice because I only upload in 1080 and then you're dealing with like double YouTube compression because I had to download the videos and now I'm re-uploading them. But you can still see how impressive these models are. You can see scuffs, tears, different dirty and stained spots, and you can even see loose threads on this backpack. That is awesome. The attention to detail on these models is just insane, and it blew my mind when I saw this for the first time. But let's just call this lady killer Frank for the time being. And there's a lot to notice about Frank. If you look around his face and neck, you can notice individual strands of facial hair. The dude's even got nose hair sticking out and fuzz around his ears. You can see the shine on his teeth and all the individual pores on his face. But what GSC really wanted to show off here is the system they use to procedurally generate the faces on NPCs. What they showed us here is that even the teeth on the NPCs are procedurally generated. Some are missing teeth, some have silver and gold crowns. Now this is pretty cool and impressive, but I'm sure you're asking yourself, much like I did, yeah, okay, but who's really going to notice that in actual gameplay? But keep in mind that this is just scratching the surface of GSC's attention to detail, and it really just speaks to how much love they put into creating these models. And it's not too big of a leap to assume that this extends to most other facial features like eyes, nose, cheeks, any scars they may have, and head and facial hair. I know repeating NPCs are something that I really notice in a lot of games where there's not a lot of design variety, like World War Z for example, I notice a lot. So seeing the devs take these kind of steps to ensure that NPC design isn't just another thing that's going to break immersion is super cool, and I can't wait to see what other tricks they have up their sleeves. So the last quick thing I want to mention on the more technical side of things is that the game is going to feature ray tracing, photogrammetry, and full body and motion capture. It's going to have all the fancy bells and whistles that you could cram into Unreal Engine 5. And if this game is going to look half as good as it does in the Vidoc, I need a new graphics card. We also got a little more info on the different weapon variety in the game, and Stalker 2 is going to feature over 30 different weapons along with a ton of attachments and mods for each. And again, if you look, we see the models running in Unreal Engine 5, and you can tell just how much love went into designing these models. The different scuffs, shines on the metals, even the wood grain on this shotgun looks especially awesome. And looking at these just makes me really excited for next gen games. Another important detail we know about the game is actually about mod support, which is something that is incredibly important to the identity of Stalker. Mods have kept people coming back to this game again and again for over a decade now, and many people say that using these popular community mods are kind of the best way to experience these old games. And I'm happy to say that GSC Game World has announced that they are working hard to make modding as easy as possible on day one. At the moment, we can't know for sure if we're going to be able to use mods on the Xbox versions of the game, but they did say that it's something they're looking into. And I don't know if this confirms the implementation of mod tools, but it's nice to know that they at least want to support mods in some capacity, especially in this weird era we're in where it kind of seems like DRM and always online games are just kind of unnecessarily running rampant. But to kind of finish off here, we don't have a release date or a launch window yet, but the devs did say that we are going to see more gameplay later this year. I'm guessing the next time we'll see Stalker 2 is probably going to be at the Xbox showcase during E3, probably sometime this summer. But if you want to stay up to date on Stalker 2 and want me to keep making more videos about it, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments, because it is a game that I'm really excited for, so I'd love to make more content about it. But that is all the info I've got for today, guys. If you made it through, a like helps this video and my entire channel out a lot, and don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Thanks for checking out the video, I really do appreciate it, and until next time, guys, have a good one.